This is the Chamber Chat Podcast, the show dedicated to chamber professionals to spark ideas and to get actionable tips and strategies to better serve your members and community. Hello, Chamber Champions. Welcome to Chamber Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Burton, and it's my goal here on the podcast to introduce you to people and ideas to better help you serve your chamber members and your community. Our title sponsor for this episode is Bringing Local Back. Remember when your community could turn to a local TV station or newspaper for the latest updates and affordable ads? Those days may be fading, but the need for local connection remains. That's why we created Bringing Local Back, a game-changing platform that restores local visibility and advertising power to your community. It's more than just tech. It's about driving engagement and creating new revenue for your chamber. Ready to see the future? Visit bringinglocalback.com to schedule your demo today. This is the future of local commerce. Our guest for this episode is Joe Aldaz. Joe is the president and CEO of the Colorado Springs Hispanic Chamber and Education Foundation. He is a seasoned nonprofit leader with over 20 years of experience. He has revitalized the chamber, achieving national recognition for its growth, membership retention, and impactful events. Joe is a passionate advocate for diversity and leadership development, founding the Adelante Leadership Institute to empower marginalized communities. His efforts have created opportunities for BIPOC business owners and fostered strategic partnerships at all levels. A sought-after speaker and consultant, Joe's expertise spans nonprofit management, small business ecosystems, and veteran services. But Joe, I'm excited to have you with us today here on Chamber Chat Podcast. I'd love to give you an opportunity to say hello to all the Chamber champions who are out there listening and to share something interesting about yourself so we can all get to know you a little better.
Sure. Well, thank you for this great opportunity to kind of share our story about our chamber journey here in Colorado Springs. But something maybe not a lot of people don't know about me is I have a journey into thoroughbred horse racing.
Really?
So I am a micro share owner in a program called My Racehorse. So it gives you the opportunity to experience being a owner and watching thoroughbreds race across the country. So I've kind of dabbled in that with my son over the past few years, and it's just fun being able to have very small shares, act like an owner, and watch one of your horses win a great race. So that's something a lot of people don't know about me. But coming from New Mexico, a lot of horse racing there in the state of New Mexico, I kind of grew up around it and had the opportunity to experience it as an owner beginning in 1995, but then stepped away from that and had the opportunity again about 5 years ago to purchase some shares in a stable of horses. Very small percentage, but it's just fun having that great experience to watch your horse coming down the home stretch, and it wins a race.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. I'm in North Texas, and so we've got a lot of horse ranches, a lot of horse breeding, that goes on around here, and I know a lot of these race horses come out of not too far from where I am, but that is neat. It's something I don't know a whole lot about, but I admire. It is something very fascinating. Well, if you could tell us a little bit about the Colorado Springs Hispanic Chamber, just to give us an idea of, size of chamber, scope of work, staff, budget,
Sure.
just to kind of set the stage for our conversation today.
Well, the Colorado Springs Hispanic Chamber was originally incorporated in 1988.
Okay.
And they had a pretty impactful run up until about the early 2000s. and obviously has a small identity chamber where your revenue is based on memberships and sponsorships of events. It's very hard to sustain that unless you have an effective staff in place. So, ironically, in 2006, I was in between jobs from the defense sector, being retired Air Force. Somehow they found me and they asked me to come on board to be their sole staff member as their executive and to rebuild the membership in the chamber and professionalize their board of directors. So not knowing a whole lot about chambers, I took on that role for a little over a year, grew their membership that had dwindled from probably close to 400 to less than 100 and built it to back over 200 in a year. Began to develop some programming and structure for the organization, but then had an opportunity to move on to the USO and serve in a position there. So I was far removed from chamber operations from beginning in 2007, but in 2009, the Hispanic Chamber closed its doors based on not having funding and able to continue operations. 4 community members in 2016 reestablished and reincorporated the chamber as the Colorado Springs Hispanic Business Council. And they reached out to me in 2018 to come on their board. That evolved to becoming their board chair in the June of 2018. I volunteered to serve out that board chair's term, but that turned into almost 2 years as a volunteer board chair. At the time, I had a full-time role in veteran trainings, facilitating and training veterans for Syracuse University in a program called Onward to Opportunity. So that was my full-time job as I was the volunteer board chair. But when I took on this role, we had 22 members in June of 2018. $6,000 in our account. And to make a long story short, I retired from Syracuse in March of 2023, and the board asked me to be their full-time executive. And since that time in June of 2018, we've evolved to over 350 members, over $200,000 in assets. And we continue to grow. We have a very robust event schedule and programming. And believe it or not, when you mentioned about our staff, I am the staff for the Hispanic Chamber.
Wow.
So all things that we accomplish are the support of our board of directors and myself, making sure that we deliver the high caliber programming, high caliber events to our community and our Hispanic Chamber members.
So that is very impressive. Great job. Sounds like they got the right man in the seat there. So keep it up. Man, that blows my mind to go from 22 members when you come in to over 350 now. So as I reached out to you and we were setting this up, we talked about kind of focusing the discussion today on overall chamber passion. And these kind of results don't happen without passion. Right. So I'm excited to dive in deeper on this passion and kind of what drives you with this as soon as I get back from this quick break.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Rose.
And we're the founders of At My Community, a mobile app that can be customized to meet the unique needs of your Chamber of Commerce.
When we started At My Community, we envisioned a tool that would help communities thrive by simplifying communication and enhancing engagement. Chambers of Commerce face unique challenges, and we're here to help you tackle them.
At My Community helps the Evergreen Area Chamber of Commerce to create an app that keeps tourists informed even when their office is closed. They provide 24/7 access to local business information, which helps support the local economy and community engagement.
In Rocky Mountain House, we helped Rocky Chamber create an app with dynamic itineraries and digital resources for tourists, increasing local business engagement. The app has become an essential tool for the community, promoting events and boosting visibility for local merchants.
Today, we empower more than 200 chambers of commerce, campgrounds, and RV resorts to streamline communication, informing members about events, sharing business updates, and providing a digital hub for the community, all in one convenient app.
When you partner with At My Community, our team works closely with you to create an app that meets your chamber's unique needs. As your community grows, our app evolves with you. We are here to ensure you engage effectively with your members and streamline your operations.
Schedule a demo today at atmycommunity.com.
We can't wait to meet you.
Chamber leaders, I know each of you works daily to boost your local economy and take your Chamber of Commerce to the next level. But let's face it, it takes funding, and lots of it. You need to know Resource Development Group. For 3 decades, they have been the premier economic development fundraising consulting firm dedicated to helping chambers of commerce and economic development organizations like yours thrive across the United States. Their expert team specializes in crafting customized fundraising strategies that drive tangible results so you'll be able to fully implement your community advancement and economic development strategies. Imagine having a partner who strives to understand your community's unique needs, brings national best practices to bear, and has the proven experience to secure millions of dollars in funding. Resource Development Group has successfully guided countless chambers of commerce in creating vibrant, sustainable economies. With their comprehensive suite of services, from campaign planning and execution to investor engagement management to best practice studies, RDG takes the guesswork out of fundraising. You'll receive personalized support and innovative solutions that make a real impact. Don't just take my word for it. Chambers of Commerce and EDO executives nationwide have praised RDG for their dedication, professionalism, and impressive track record of raising over $2 billion for their clients. Ready to see what Resource Development Group can do for your chamber? Visit them at rdgfundraising.com to learn more. Elevate your community, strengthen your chamber, and unlock new possibilities with Resource Development Group by your side. They build organizations that build communities.
I know my passion kind of is centered around trying to create a lot of opportunity for Hispanic-owned and multicultural businesses in our community. This is the fastest growing entrepreneurial market in the country. If you look at the economic power the Latino population has in the United States, it's 3.6 trillion GDP, wow, which is the 5th largest in the world resident in our country. So the indirect and direct impacts of that are there's going to be entrepreneurs that are going to be starting a business because that's the opportunity to grow generational wealth, which the Latino culture continues to try to build in the United States. So that drives my passion, and I just want to be of service to those businesses to help our community grow and continue to build that small business ecosystem here.
Yeah, I mean, you really are in a position to see lives change for sure.
Right.
You know, creating the generational ability to be able to create a place. Tell us a little bit more about some of the programming, the approaches you take. How is the chamber stepping into this role that really can be so impactful for these individuals and their families?
Well, we provide, as an example, one of the programs we provide, and it's a free service, we have what's called the Avanzar Business Accelerator Program. That is a digital platform that we created through one of our board of directors who has been in the startup business space for several years. And what that allows us to do, and we are providing that as a free service to all startups and entrepreneurs in the Colorado Springs community. It's a 24/7 digital platform. Entrepreneurs can register and go in and gain training in a lot of different topics, from building your financial plan, building your business plan, identifying the right type of client for your market, develop financial projections, all of those things that impact growing a business. And we've made that free for all entrepreneurs in our community. And as we grow, we believe that we're going to reach and touch thousands of entrepreneurs here in Colorado Springs. So that's a unique program that we have that no other Chamber of Commerce here in El Paso County has here in Colorado Springs.
That's
Another unique program that we have is the Adelante Leadership Institute. That is a 10-month fellowship program through Education Foundation, and we're developing a pipeline of emerging Latino and Latina talent to become more civically engaged and begin service on nonprofit boards and commissions in Colorado Springs to start to change that diversity of what boards look like in our community, since the Latino population is the fastest growing population here in Colorado Springs.
that's awesome. And the Business Accelerator. I love that idea, and being able to have that as a free offering, a free resource to help these businesses really get their business up and going.
Definitely.
I'm always fascinated, being a Hispanic chamber. Um, Aside from word of mouth, how do you target people you're trying to reach out to versus a chamber that has a demographic, more of a geographical footprint? You got geographical, but then also the subset of Hispanics.
Right. Well, I relied on having a very high caliber board of directors. Frank Sinclair, who's is one on our board. He is what we call the great connector and networker in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a large network of organizations and businesses. He also has a show called the Be Encouraged Show that they host on pretty much on a daily basis, where they bring in small businesses to give them exposure and help them build and gain that branding and access to our community. So I've used my board of directors networks. I've been in the community since 1999 and in several different capacities. And I've leveraged that network as well, and kind of, in essence, have called in a lot of favors. Hey, can you help us with our chamber and make a member investment or sponsor an event? And I think my track record of the other positions I've been in, I think there's some trust that has been built there and credibility to where they say, yes, we'll make that investment. Perfect example of that is I met with a colleague of mine who happens to be a 1983 Air Force Academy graduate. He was a classmate of mine in 1983, runs a major company here in Colorado Springs. And we met over coffee, and he said, I want to help you. And he made a significant investment in our organization. So it's those types of relationships here in Colorado Springs, and Frank, who's on the call here, podcast as well. We're a very relationship-driven community here. It's not transactional. It's, having relationships like this, talking with people over coffee, meeting them and establishing that relationship, which I think the outcome directly is, if they see that it's a valuable relationship, they're going to make that investment in time or talent or their resources to help your organization. So that's what I've really been passionate about, is being a chamber that is relationship driven. If you go to our website, to become a member, you have to click on partner. You don't click on an icon that says member, because member to me is more of a transactional type word. Partner is, we want you to invest in us and become a community investment partner, because we're helping build community through business. So we've kind of changed that dynamic of membership to becoming a community investment partner with us, because you're helping build the community through your investment into our organization.
So when somebody goes through that process on the website and instead of becoming a member, they become a partner, how long from the time that they sign up and they say, yes, I want to be a partner, I want to join, before they hear from you to start building that relationship?
They'll hear from me pretty much immediately. we send a welcome letter out to them pretty much through our technology, and then I will reach out to them to see if they want to meet and ask questions. We have monthly what we call member orientation sessions where they can log in, and it's a very free-flowing discussion to answer any questions, whether you're a new member or a current member, just to explore what their needs are, what their services are. But I have met with executives in the large companies here that are members, and I've met with those micro business owners over coffee that may have 5 employees to
Yeah.
try to learn, what their needs are on how they can, help expand their market or grow their business. Because every one of our members has different needs. Some of our members just want to come to our events and network. Others are trying to find business resources. Others are trying to figure out how they grow their business to access more capital in order to enable it to grow. So there's a variety of needs that these different businesses have, and some of our major financial institutions and corporations that are invested in us as well.
Yeah. I was hoping that was going to be your answer, that they hear from you almost immediately. I've seen other chambers where the button says join, click here to join, become a member. And it's all about that transaction. They put in their
Right.
credit card information, they get loaded into the database, and boom, they're a member. And then they may not hear. I mean, there might be an email sequence that they receive, but that personal communication, they may not hear for months.
Right.
And it very much is transactional. So leaning into building these relationships and having it be, something that ends up being really more of a transformational relationship to be able to help these businesses thrive
Right.
is so important. And I like how you mentioned every business they join for different reasons. They have their reasoning for being a part of it. And I think bottom line is they all want to see their business grow, right? That's the common need, but it comes in different ways, whether it's looking for funding or networking or those different opportunities. But being able to get to know these members and their needs helps you align them to, those best fits and make those introductions to the people that they need to meet to be able to thrive.
Right.
Are there any other maybe unique approaches you take into building relationships with these partners?
One of the things that we established through our chamber is in late 2022, I reached out to all of the other local chambers here and asked them how their networking events were going, what the attendance was like. And they said, we're kind of getting the same people that come. They're not really growing. So I threw out the idea of coming together and collaborating to host what we called quarterly business after hour events. So we hosted our first one in March of 2023, and we had 5 chambers involved with it, and we called it the Chambers of El Paso County Business After Hours. Every guest that comes registers through their own chamber, and we just had one chamber that kind of co-hosts to man the registration as members came in. And that initial one that we did in March of 2023 that we hosted, we had about 120 some guests. Since then, they have grown to a couple of our quarterly after hours to over 200 guests.
Wow.
So that spirit of collaboration, trying to bring members from other chambers to connect with members of other chambers, I think it's been a pretty great experience because we've seen the growth. And at the same time, it's a $10 investment when we have a multiple of activities going on here in Colorado Springs. We found that if somebody's going to invest their time, they're seeing this event as an opportunity to be connected with several different organizations at one time. Yeah. So that's something that unique that we've done to try to build that relationship as well. We are a very social type organization. If you come to our business luncheons, we have done a pivot on what a luncheon looks like. We bring in an inspirational speaker to speak to our audience, because I feel that if they leave with a very inspiring, motivational message, they're going to be a better business owner, and they're just going to be a better individual in general, which I think will impact them as either a staff member of an organization or an owner of a business. We're having our last luncheon next Tuesday, and we're bringing an Air Force Academy graduate and former NBA basketball player, Antoine Hood, who led the Air Force Falcons in 2003 and 2004 to the Mountain West Conference Championship, and the first appearance in the NCAA tournament in, I believe it was 42 years.
Wow. Wow.
So,
That's
and he
awesome.
has a very great story on his journey trying to break into the NBA. And now he's an entrepreneur that's developed a very unique water bottle that you can use for your marketing in your business and in sports venues. So, those are the types of individuals we bring in. In June of 2023, we brought in an individual named Vince Papale. His story was the Walt Disney movie Invincible that Mark Wahlberg starred in,
Yeah, the
about
Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles. Great, great luncheon. People left just inspired. Everybody got the book that he had just recently authored. So that luncheon is very high energy. People establish relationships in there, and they look forward to coming back to the next quarterly luncheon. We don't do a monthly luncheon. We do a quarterly luncheon just because of time and resources, but it's now become effective because they anticipate and look forward to the next one, because they know the types of speakers we bring in to leave those great and inspiring messages.
Yeah. So obviously we're on a podcast platform. I'm a big fan of podcasts, and I'll hear a lot of great, motivational type people on podcasts. But there's something different to being in the same room as somebody's giving a speech, and the people that are there in attendance, they're going to leave and tell other people. I heard Antoine Hood talk about this, and to be able to be there is going to generate more of that word of mouth and the
Right.
positive traction that you're looking for. And I applaud you for getting these great speakers to come in and be energizing and uplifting to those who are in attendance. That's awesome. So you've been innovative in your time there, just trying to make things work. You had mentioned the quarterly networking, the 5 chambers throughout the county. I've seen in some areas where some chambers may shy away from that regional collaboration when it comes to events like that, because they'll let things get in the way as to like who gets the money. When you register, if you're hosting it, but you're all registering your own chamber, like the logistics of it, trying to get everybody to agree on how that all works.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of structure do you guys use? How does it work to have 5 chambers work for you guys?
We make it as simple as possible. So every individual registers through their own chamber, and they keep that revenue. And we ask that one chamber kind of hosts it, select the venue, work with the venue to hopefully make complimentary appetizers. Usually it's at a place that there is a cash bar that they can have a drink. And it's worked pretty effectively, because we're not really trying to make huge dollars. We're using it as people connecting and networking. Yeah. There's no programming in the event. Initially there was thoughts, well, should we have an educational session before the networking? And I said, this is a Thursday evening and people are trying to decompress from the end of the week. They just want to come and enjoy themselves. The only remarks are made is the executive from the participating chambers makes some brief remarks about some upcoming events, welcoming all the guests here, and that's it. And it's just socializing and networking. So as far as the lift and the logistics, everybody's been very agreeable, and they can make a little bit of extra money through their chamber for their members, and that host of chamber just does all the logistics with the venue and appetizers and things of that nature. So there hasn't been really any pushback. And matter of fact, there's been some other chambers when we initially started. How do we get involved and
Good.
participate as well?
Glad to hear
As
it.
an example, the Philippine American Chamber of Southern Colorado, just established over a year ago. They're going to host one next year.
Awesome.
So it's continued to grow, and it's just a great collaboration. People enjoy being around a lot of different people that they may not be connected with if through their own chamber.
Is there any sponsors with these networking events?
No, because it's not something that we're looking to make a lot of money, because once you
Yeah.
get a sponsor, then that's where we say, well, how do we share that sponsor revenue amongst the 5 chambers that are actually participating in it?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just make it a straight networking event with no sponsors, because every chamber has their events scheduled where they can gain that sponsorship revenue. So we've made it as simple as possible.
Yeah. I like that. Very good. Well, Joe, I like asking this question to everybody that I have on the show, and I think it means a little more coming from you, because as chambers listening may have a desire to take their chamber up to the next level. I'd argue you've taken the Colorado Springs Hispanic Chamber up several levels. But what kind of tip or action item might you share for those listening who are trying to accomplish similar goals?
I think that what I would want to leave other chambers with is think out of the box and try to be innovative in the approach that you take to chambers. And I think chambers need to be community minded as well, and not so focused just on business. Because I think if you're trying to build community and be active in your community, in community events, or have what you would call a community event, that indirectly is going to impact business throughout your community as well. Perfect example of that is we are now in the process and have launched a campaign through one of our board of directors that is in the Latino health equity world, called One School, One Vaccine at a Time. And what that is we are working with a school district here right now in Colorado Springs and looking to build it to other school districts. We want to make vaccines accessible to Latino, specifically Spanish-speaking families, because many of these Latino families are business owners, but they cannot make the window of opportunities for vaccinations for their kids and their families during the times that school have those.
Yeah.
So what our board member has created, and she's been in this space for several years, is we are hosting vaccination clinics that are outside of those normal working hours, on a Sunday morning, on a Saturday evening, to make sure that those individuals have access. And our school district that we're working with has been very flexible to that, and we're working with the county and the state to continue to mobilize and grow that program. So that's where we believe that we're community minded, because those business owners, business can be impacted if they're not vaccinated and are not being able to work and own a business because they're sick and they haven't been able to get those types of vaccinations, because it's a family focused thing. If your child is getting vaccinated at these clinics, that family's more apt to get the vaccinations they need as well. So
Right.
that's just one example that we have fostered. The other thing that we foster is our major signature event is not an annual gala type dinner. We have transitioned, and we'll be in our 5th year. We have an outdoor Latin culture event called La Vida.
Love it.
It's a community focused event. You come in, it's a ticketed event. You come in and sample small bites of cuisine. We have distilleries and breweries with small pours. And then we have live Latin bands perform throughout the evening. So it's starting to be tagged here in Colorado Springs as the premier summer business social in Southern Colorado. We've grown it since our inception in 2021 from about 250 guests. We were close to 700 guests this past
Wow.
summer that we did it. We do it on a Saturday evening at a country club that's attached to a resort called the Cheyenne Mountain Resort. And it's just a great event. The only programming that we have there is we announce our Hispanic Business Award recipients. So they get some branding because they're out there receiving an award in front of almost 700 guests.
Yeah.
And that's a very community-minded guest. I mean, we have our Hispanic business members come, but the community comes and they pretty much now are marking it on their calendar to say, this is the summer event that we want to be at.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that it's outdoors. I mean, that brings its own issues as far as planning and hoping weather works out and all that. But
And we've been lucky for the
yeah,
5 years we have not had any rain, and it's the setting is a very intimate setting. We are on a golf course beach over a lake overlooking the mountains with a large stage for our performers, and it's just a really nice setting, and people enjoy it. They enjoy the samples of food, the distilleries that provide the small pours of bourbon, whiskey, lagers, and people have fun. And as you know, with our culture, Latin culture, if you have food, drink, and music, we will be there.
that's right. And having
So
it be outdoors is very inviting to the
it is
community as well.
nice setting.
Yeah. If it's indoors in a big conference center, the community doesn't see it. And being
And
outdoors, yeah,
And here
I
in
love
our
it.
community, there's a lot of nonprofits and there's a lot of annual dinners. So we said, what can we do different to be our signature fundraiser, but be more of an attractive and separate us from the rest of the group to say, hey, this is more of an inviting event that we'd like to come to.
Yeah, you guys made a great choice. I love it. Well, Joe, I like asking everybody I have on the show as we look to the future of chambers of commerce. How do you see the future of chambers and their purpose going forward?
I think chambers the model that chambers currently work under as far as memberships and sponsorships and being event driven, I think it works to a point, but I think chambers need to become more innovative and figure out how to create other revenue streams to help their organization grow. We believe our Avanzar Business Accelerator program is one of those types because we have the opportunity to provide sponsors and corporate entities to be part of that training module that we have on the platform. So if a financial institution wants to say, hey, we would like to provide a training module on access to capital, well, there's an investment to have your brand on our platform to provide that training. So that's an example of another revenue stream. And just trying to develop partnerships with some of our businesses, and we're always looking to explore those. I know a lot of chambers have what they call affinity programs where you can get member discounts. But what we did a little bit differently this year, and we experimented with it, one of our members is a coffee company called Model Citizen Coffee. And what they did is they developed a specialized coffee that we could promote and get 20% of the revenue called Rico Suave. So people, members could go to our website, link up to the company, and every one of those bags of coffee sold, we would get 20% of the revenue. One of our members has a beer, Atrevida Beer Company. She has done the same thing. They have developed a special lager that they're putting in a lot of different venues, and we are getting 20% of the revenue from that lager being sold.
That's
Not
awesome.
large checks, but there are additional revenue that comes into our chamber, and it's helping build that business member's brand as well, because
Yep.
they're showing that they are engaged and participating with the work that we're doing and helping us grow as well.
Yeah, it's a win-win, and those little checks add up. You get enough
Right.
lines in the water like that, they add up. Well, Joe, this has been great. I can feel the passion you have. I can see the impact that you guys have been making, and it excites me to see the revitalization of the Colorado Springs Hispanic Chamber and the impact, the true life-changing impact that's being presented there. I wanted to give you an opportunity to share any contact information for listeners who may want to reach out and connect with you. Where would you point them?
Sure. Our website is cshispanicchamber.com. My email contact is info@cshispanicchamber.com. And if people want to contact me directly via phone, it's 719-231-5353. And I'd be happy to speak with anyone on, if they have more questions on what they heard today, and just looking forward to hopefully having some ideas that have gone out here today for other chambers, across the country.
Yeah, definitely some things that can be implemented. So I appreciate you sharing these insights and your experience and enthusiasm and just overall passion for the work you're doing and the impact that it's making. So thank you for being with us today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
If you are a chamber professional, please subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. When you subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast, new episodes will show up in your podcast app each week as they are released. If you're finding value in this podcast, please leave us a rating and a review in iTunes. But most importantly, please share Chamber Chat Podcast with your colleagues that are in the industry.